Hi everyone. So right now we're going to continue our learning of the layers panel, and we have this photograph made by a student of mine, and we're just gonna have some fun with it and in terms of what the possibilities of the layers panel are. We're gonna create a special effect here on a new layer. So uh, what we're gonna do is create a new layer by going to Layer, New, and then Layer. Or, just like everything in Photoshop, there's more than one way to do this. We can go to the Layers panel and click on the icon that has a page with a little corner that's folded out like it's turning. If we click on that, it'll actually add a new layer here. So once we have that new layer, it'll show up as layer 1. We can change that by double clicking into that actual name and it becomes an editable text box. And we could change this to lightning. So once we change that to lightning, we are actually selecting the lightning layer. And let's go over to our toolbar here. We can select the magnifying glass tool to just zoom in a little bit here. We can also press the space bar to make a temporary hand tool that we can click and drag and move our actual image around. So again, if you wanted to do a shortcut and not go to the toolbar, you can hit Command minus and that zooms out, Command plus and that zooms in, and then the space bar and clicking and dragging, and that actually reorganizes your document view. So what I wanted to mention in terms of this new layer is that this is really a powerful start to our strategy of editing. So if I wanted to add a special effect here, I'm going to go over to the brush tool. The brush tool is right here in the toolbar, and you can see that you can hit B for a shortcut on the keyboard, and that actually selects the brush tool for you. The options for the brush tool are here in the options bar, and we can make the size of that brush small, and we could also change the actual edge of the brush by adjusting the hardness slider here, and I'm going to make it go to 100%. There's a lot of other options here. The opacity is also important. I'm going to bump that up to 100%. And what I'm doing here, if I use this brush tool, I'm going to be painting with my foreground color. My foreground color is here in the actual toolbar. It's the first square. If I click on that square, I could actually select a color that I want to use to actually paint with. And once I do that, I can just click and drag to the color. I could also drag the spectrum here and hit OK. And notice that my foreground color has changed. So right now, I'm just going to create some fun lightning bolts coming out of these hands. And coming out of these fingers. And it's pretty silly, but what I wanted to mention while I'm doing this is that all of those marks that I just made, here let me just put this in the middle, are on this layer. So here if I go to the visibility and I turn it off and on, then all of that is on the lightning for this hand. The other thing is that I could do other things with this actual layer. If I go over to the Move tool at the top of the toolbar and I click and I move, notice that I'm moving the entire layer and I'm not moving what's underneath. So here I can actually click and drag with the Move tool and move all those lightning bolts. So let's add another layer. Here I'm going to go to the new layer icon and I'm just going to say hand to lightning and press enter. So I'm going to go over to hand number 2 here, and then I'm going to hit B for brush, and then I'm going to paint some more and have another hand that is shooting bolts of lightning. So what we're actually seeing here in terms of this technique is that now if I select the Move tool and I have my actual hand to lightning selected and I pick that up and I could drag it all over, and the first mark that's lightning is not being moved. The other thing I can do is actually select the eraser. Here the eraser just does what is promised. It erases a mark. If I'm on hand to lightning and I don't like the mark that's being made, I can just use the eraser and erase it. If I tried to go over here and erase the other layer, notice that it's not responding because I don't have that layer selected in the layers panel. I can only erase this layer here. So I'm going to hit Command 0 just so we can pull back from what we've been doing, and now I have the option of changing my mind if I don't like it at all, or I can keep it as is and save this out if I'd like.